Macmillan Audio presents The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. Read for you by Julia Whelan, Shiromi Arserio, and Kimberly Wetherell.
Houses remember. That was what Mr. O'Hare had said to Victoria the first day she and her family came to Somerton. The day that began the end of everything. At the time, she'd liked the sound of that. Somerton was an old house after all, and the idea of its papered walls and mullioned windows holding the secrets and dreams of all who had walked its halls appealed to her. She hadn't thought that perhaps houses hold on to the bad with the good, just as people do. But why would she ever have thought that there might be bad memories in such a place? That summer, the last good season of her life, was such a glorious one, full of blue skies and lemon-yellow sun, and there was no sign of all the horror to come. There were only warm, lazy days, the soft hum of bees and tall flowers, the silky feel of grass against her calves as she walked through the fields surrounding the house. She had forgotten, as we all do, that beautiful things can contain their own darkness. Lilith Rising, Mary Godwin, 1976.
With its publication in 1976, Lilith Rising blew open the doors of the boys' club occupied by such horror authors as William Peter Blatty, J. Anson, and Thomas Tryon, a feat made even more impressive by the youth of its author. Blatty was 43 when The Exorcist was published, Anson 56 when the Amityville Horror was unleashed. Tryon had already had an established Hollywood career as both an actor and writer before the other put him on the map as one of America's preeminent writers of horror. But the author of Lilith Rising was a girl just barely over the drinking age, a petite English redhead named Mary Godwin. Of course, by the time Lilith Rising was published, her name was already famous, infamous even. But even if it hadn't been for the events of the summer of 1974, sometimes luridly referred to as the Villa Rosado horror, Lilith Rising would have caused a sensation. Horror had, after all, been mostly the territory of men, until Mary Godwin and her creation, some say Avatar, Victoria Stewart, stormed onto the scene. Even divorced from its real-life history of violence, the book shocks. Victoria is no victim, no screaming girl covered in blood. She brings about the destruction of those she loves with no regret, single-minded in her focus in the way teenage girls certainly are in real life, but had not been permitted to be in the realms of horror fiction. Mary Godwin was asked time and time again if she was Victoria, and her answer, given with an enigmatic smile, was always the same. We all are. The Lady and the Monster, Women in Horror, 1932 to 1990, Dr. Elizabeth Radner, University of Georgia Press, 2001.
Chapter 1. Somewhere around the time she started calling herself Chess, I realized I might actually hate my best friend. It was the third name she'd given herself in the nearly 20 years I'd known her. When we'd met in 4th grade, she was just Jessica. Well, Jessica C., since there was also Jessica M. and Jessica R., and then one girl who just got to be Jessica, like she'd claimed the name first and everyone else just had to fucking deal with it. So I guess it wasn't a surprise that by the time we were sophomores, Jessica C. had turned herself into JC, which eventually morphed into JC. That lasted until halfway through college. Sometime between her 3rd and 4th change of major, she became simply J, holding on to that moniker until 10 years ago, right after we both turned 25 and she'd finally broken up with that asshole Lyle. That's when Chess was born.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?